and welcome back to Geospace. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a little bit of the tricks that I use. People have always asked me, how do you get your gifts wrapped so nicely for the holidays? Well, it's almost time for the holidays, so we got to make sure we get our gifts looking really good so that whoever's receiving it notices that we put just as much attention to the detail of how it looks outside as well as what the gift is inside. So I will show you a few tricks that I've learned as I've acquired more knowledge of this. First of all, never be afraid of using things that are the ordinary to decorate your gifts. I actually purchased these ornaments and it comes in a tiny little box with a lot of them, and they're like little snowflakes. They're glittery snowflakes. And I love them because I can always hang one of these on each gift. You can either get them at Walmart or at the dollar store. And it just makes the gift a little more personal, like a little more detail oriented. But let's first start with actually wrapping the gift. Actually, I have my mom's gift here that I will be wrapping. One of the things that I always hate doing is wasting too much paper. So I do like to do a little bit of preparing for it. And all that I'm doing is making sure that on my side, the paper goes a little bit over halfway. So a little bit past the half line of your box. You can just kind of eyeball it. The other thing is, first I want to make sure that that side's going to go all the way across this way and this side all the way across. And because I haven't cut it yet, I don't know for sure. So you can either grab the ribbon that you're using to wrap your presents and just kind of measure to the edge of the paper and then just wrap it around, and then you'll be able to see if it goes a little past the middle. That would be awesome. And I love this paper that I got. I didn't notice that it actually is double-sided, so it has a pattern on one side and then a different pattern on the other side, which is great because then it means you can vary your gifts a little more. And I am using gold tones, but only because gold and silver, because that goes great with my Christmas tree. And I like to find where the pattern repeats on the paper, and I just follow those patterns as it keeps repeating. This side is actually really easy to cut because the pattern on this side, it's almost like squares. Almost like rectangles, I should say, and they overlap every other. See, I was able to cut like a pretty decent line just by following the pattern on the paper. So that's better than just trying to eyeball it. So I did put the top of my gift facing down because I want the seams of my gift to actually end up being on the bottom side. But wait, the top side doesn't have any seams. And first I'm going to put a little piece of tape here, and when I bring this one over, this is another part where I don't think it matters as much that the lines are not as perfect. Right now this is the edge of my paper, so it works out great that the line is very straight. But I can also see a little bit, just a tiny little bit, I'm not sure if you guys can see it, with a pattern ends on the paper, and I don't want that to show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold a little bit at the edge, and then I'm just going to crease it over, so then I have a really nice straight line without having to do any cutting, and it's folded, so it looks really nice. And this is my second piece of tape that I put, and I'm counting the tapes because I'm also very particular about not using too much tape, and there's all this tape on the Christmas present that it really is not needed. When I go to fold the sides, a lot of people do different things. I like to push this center part because I don't want this to be wobbling one side or the other. That way I can get a nice crease on each side that is very symmetrical. If I let go of this, I can pull more on one side than the other. So I just kind of do that. Some people like to put a little piece of tape there, which let's actually do that to make it a little easier. So I taped a little bit right there. So now I can see that my creases are pretty even. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring those two sides in. And as I'm doing them, you know, it's nice to crease the corners just by running your fingers through the edge. It's a really nice little trick. And then I do the same thing on this side. And now what I have is the top part that I'm gonna fold up. Now, you can either just fold it up and have a point there as well and just take that part. But what I like to do is I like to actually fold in the very end so I have more of a straight line. And then when I get to this side, you'll see it kind of blends in so it looks like similar on both sides. See if you can see that. Oh, it looks pretty good. So I'm just going to put a little side of tape on this side and a little side of tape on this side. The reason why I'm doing two tapes on this part is because I want to catch this seams as well. So I'm going to show you a little more up close just so you can see how I caught those corners. So see, I went ahead and put the tape and I wanted to catch this seam as well. So I did one on this side and one on this side. And it looks pretty nice and clean. So I will do the same thing on the other side. And now this is the top of my gift. So that's the box. It looks pretty clean, all the edges. I will bring them up to you. See how I folded the first seam there? Just gives you like a nice edge. So that's your box. Now the fun part, which is the decorating part, correct? Obviously, I went and got some tags, and I actually found these by accident at Target. And these are the stick ones on, and I love them because they go with the theme of my colors. So I will put to Mom from Geo. My handwriting is not. I'm also putting in Christian. My handwriting is not as lovely, but you know, you fit it in there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and stick it. I have different options. So sometimes people are like, what do I do now? Where do I put the tag and stuff? If I want to put my ball over here on the corner, then I will put it like right here. If I want to do it more center, then I want to put it under the middle. For this gift, let's go ahead and do more the corner. So I am going to put the tag up here, and it's up to your liking. Some people like to angle the tag, which is fine. Some people have the ones that dangle, but I don't want to get the ones that dangle because we are already dangling our little ornaments that we bought. Now, ornaments, feathers, anything's a go. If you are using feathers, I will recommend also using a glue gun because feathers will not be adhered by tape like they will with the glue gun. I also got this, which is fairly cheap, except I found it in silver and gold. That's why I bought it. And I curled it. I don't know if you guys ever curl this or you just buy it already curled in a ball. But you can actually, it's a lot cheaper if you just buy it like that and then you start curling it. In reality, you can grab either knife that's not sharp or your scissors, and when it's straight, basically it comes straight, and then you go ahead and just pull it up like this and it starts curling it. And I just cut different pieces, silver and gold, some pieces to decorate this. Because the paper is more on the gold side, I'm going to use the silver. I buy silver and gold for the bows. Now, same thing, I don't like to waste too much of this. So what I like to do is I actually like to buy a little bit of wire, jewelry wire, and I've had this for a while. And I cut like a little piece because that way I don't actually have to do a knot for the bow. I actually can use a little piece of wire. There, you can see it. I can actually use a little piece of wire to tie it in on the center, and it also creates less bulk on the center of the bow, which is great. And first, as you notice, I haven't cut the ribbon yet because once I tie it, I can see more where I can be a little more symmetrical with my bow. A lot of times, if you cut it ahead of time, then sometimes you are struggling to get it to look even. So that's my bow right there. And I'm just going to put it a little bit at an angle to give it a little bit of style right there. I'm going to use a little bit of tape. And for this time around, just to make sure it stays really good, I'm going to put a longer piece of tape right down the center. And that way it goes on either side. And the only reason why I'm doing it this way, sometimes I like to just put it on the tips of the bow on the inside. That way you don't see the tape a lot. But you actually won't see the tape a lot because I'm going to use some of these gold curlies in the center. And it'll actually cover it. So I'm just grabbing 2 gold and 1 silver. And same thing, I'm going to grab a piece of tape. Now do you see why I try to save some tape? Because we will be using tape in a lot of places for the gifts. And then you can put it right in the center of the bow. And guess what? The curlies are going to kind of cover up a little more where that bow attaches. And this is your gift. It's all nicely wrapped. It looks very professional, and it looks like you put a lot of attention to the detail of the gift. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It is time to now put it over by the Christmas